Got to record and live stream. There's too many to-dos here. I'm just holding it together today. I've had like this massive migraine all week and I never get migraines. So I'm like, I don't know if it's the weather or, when we're being conscious, we're always trying to figure it out. What is it? What is it? What is it? And sometimes it's just rolling with the punches, right?
Totally.
So everyone, we're doing another interview for the Sustainable Motherhood series. And just to give you a little background, the reason why I love interviewing women who are on a mission to make shit happen in their lives is I want to know the why behind what they do. So Marie Jackson, she says she's a Fargo native, played college soccer, lived in 7 states, mom of 2 with another one on the way, and the founder of Organize Marie. And I love what she was talking about with her struggles with learning disabilities growing up and how organization as a tool really still helps her, but helped her back then as well. So Marie, I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
And for multiple reasons. One, because I know a lot of women listening to this have children who have struggled with academics, and also the sense of overwhelm, right? The sense of, I don't know where to start because, I have this deep desire to be organized, but what does that even mean? Where do I go? I just look at everything and my eyes glaze over.
Absolutely.
So what does it actually mean to be organized?
Well, I think for everyone, it's a little bit different, but at least for me, in terms of organization, it's being able to find what you need at the time that you need it. And I think that the struggle that people come into is it's really almost creating habits of, okay, you decide to organize your closet, and it's about putting it back where you got it from. And that's really a lot of the struggle that comes in because you're changing when you're tired, you get home, you just want to throw your shirt on the ground or on the bed and not like put it back on the hanger. But over time it builds up. And that's where I think people just kind of fall off the wagon, is because you're tired and you're a mom. And I know what it's like. I have a whole sink full of dishes right now that need to be done, but it's just getting it all kind of. Organization is being able to put it back where you took it out from, but also creating systems that you really like and enjoy. And I think that's a key component of successful organization is something that you like and love and use. It doesn't do any good if you've got, you go to like the Container Store and buy all these great bins and baskets, but then you don't use them. They're just going to end up sitting there empty. And you're wondering why you even made the trip in the first place.
Yes. So when you said like and enjoy, I was like, yes. Because that's the key, right? But what if I've convinced myself and I've told myself this story of it's so hard to be organized, or my children will never pick up after themselves, like all the crap that society tells us, like, lazy, blah, blah, blah.
No, absolutely. I completely understand the struggle too with children, especially. I've got a 4-year-old daughter right now, so I'm trying really hard with her, just teaching her I've created this shoe bin in her closet, and that's where I'm starting with her, at least in terms of trying to get her to be organized. But I mean, I find her shoes all over the house. I'm like, all right, Avery, where do these belong? Okay, in your shoe bin. And there are times she doesn't want to do it. So I'm like, okay, how do I motivate her to get her just to pick them up, to put them in a room? I'm like, all right, can you do this in 5 seconds? So it's, these small little things that it comes with parenting, is figuring out trial and error. What's going to work? What's going to make them motivate and get them to become organized? So, for example, she's 4, she's almost 5. So, I'm not trying to go crazy being like, all right, you need to color code your shirts and things like that. So he's trying to start small. And so that's, her shoe bin. And then we've got another bin for like her soccer gear. I'm like, okay, so where does all your soccer stuff belong? Yeah. So just teaching her the small things and the routine and habit, because that's really where it all starts is, okay, where does this belong? Where should it be? There are times that she can't find what we need and we're trying to run out the house. I'm like, okay, so did you understand why I ask you to put these in there? Because when we need them, it's, where to find them immediately. So in terms for kids, that's what I'm really working on. Just starting small to try to get these small little habits built into her to get going, things like that.
Yeah. So I think what I picked out of that, and I was like, yes, is when we're trying to get out the door
Yes.
and the frustration piece, because there is an aspect of that where, people are like, this is a huge energy. Like, I'm screaming at my kids. I'm doing this, I'm doing this. I'm like, but we can be proactive here.
Totally.
Yes, you may have to, take a few steps back and say, okay, yeah, we got to do something we don't like to do right now. So, and I love what you were talking about with your learning disability as a child and being organized. So can you talk a little bit about that? And then we'll wrap it up to see like the whole picture of like, it's not just about organizing your shoes. It's about the mindset clutter.
Absolutely. So it was third grade. I was diagnosed with a learning disability, and it had kind of first started. I didn't really know what was going on, but I had been taken out of the classroom to go. I knew who the special teacher was, and I was going with her, and I didn't really understand it for a while, and doing all this testing. And so basically from third grade through basically my freshman year of high school, I was taken out of the classroom, always getting help. And in high school, I was a level behind in my math class. So I was, I was a junior, but I was in a math class with a bunch of sophomores. And I always had to work really hard to keep my grades up. And I was an athlete. And, if you don't have your grades up, you can't play. And that was one of my biggest concerns. And I studied so hard and had so many tears of, study forever and I'd get a C on a test. And, I'd have friends that would barely do anything and they get an A. And it was really hard and frustrating. But for me to overcome a lot of those challenges and insecurities that I had, I studied harder. As crazy as it was, it got me, more motivated to be like, all right, I had to have my notes organized to a T. And when I did that, it calmed my anxiety. Even though I would end up still getting a C on a test and be disappointed when I got back, I knew going into it, I had a lot of really good preparation. And then that kind of transpired over into college as well. When I got in there as just the same type of level of anxiety, because it was much harder than it was in high school. So it helped the organization side of having my schedule and my notes and everything organized, and knowing that I could do my best took my anxiety level down dramatically. And that really is what helped me a lot through everything. And even just, so that piece of it was my learning disability really helped take down my anxiety. And that's kind of translated too from a home organization standpoint. When my home isn't organized, I'm able to lower my anxiety and my stress. Now, it's not always going to be perfect, but it really does help take down that anxiety and that stress level when things are organized and in place.
What is your perspective on the Japanese art of decluttering?
Marie Kondo, she took over the world. I think it was 2 summers ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I had to get my hand on this book, and I finally got it on it. And I was like, everyone was talking about this buzz on it. My take on it is, I think from the one thing that she speaks a lot about is sparking joy. And I do agree with that in terms of more about what you love, keeping items that you really like and really enjoy. I think that is a really key component, because I think you should love your wardrobe. I think you should feel good about what you're in. And so in terms from like a closet organization standpoint, I really believe that keeping what you love and what sparks joy is really, really important, because you should feel confident about yourself. And if you have stuff you don't like, it doesn't make you feel good. So from that standpoint, I do agree with it. There's other things that are a little extreme that were from her book, like talking just, objects and things of that nature, were a bit out there, I thought. But from an overall standpoint, if you're looking just to declutter and have no idea where to start, I think her book is a great place to start. And you take out what you like from it and apply it as needed, like her folding techniques and methods. I mean, those techniques have been around for a while, but in terms of keeping your shirts and things like that, the way that they're organized vertically, it's a great way to do it. So from that standpoint, I think from overall picture of keeping everything you love and sparking joy is a really key component in keeping your home organized.
Yeah, that's what I got out of it. So I literally put all my clothes. I was like, this does not bring me joy. And my husband's like, you have nothing left. And I was like, but seriously, that should tell you something, right? So
Absolutely.
One year I got rid of all my bathing suits, and I was like, is it because I don't like my body, or is it because I don't like the bathing suit? And most of the time it's because I would buy shitty ass bathing suits, like cheap, clearance section bathing suits that didn't make me feel good. And this goes back to the whole picture of what brings you joy. Like joy is really, really, really important. And I think for, the woman watching, I mean, we're talking about organization, but you were talking about your learning disability as well. I think I grew up with an undiagnosed learning disability. I never formally got tested. Sure. And I felt so shitty about myself in school because it was like, you didn't get the A+, you're a loser, you know, and I would, be taken out of class and doing all of those things. And I still see the stigma today where, I mean, entrepreneurship, I mean, I was born to work for myself because I've almost gotten fired from every single job that I've had, including working for my family. And the reason why I'm saying this is because so many successful people that I talk to who live life on their own terms had some form of learning difficulty when they were older, and they were like, this is bullshit. So what is your perspective on that when, a woman is listening and she's like, talk about the organization as the tool and key, but she's so overwhelmed with her life and her child is struggling. And she's like, I've tried all of this and I just can't get them to figure their shit out. Like there's a missing piece here.
Yeah. I think a lot of this, it's starting small. So really when you're overwhelmed, and especially if you think about like your home or whether your child, and you're trying to figure out how do I tackle this? And it seems like the biggest beast in the world, just take something small and start there. So if you're struggling with your child in terms of organization, take one piece that you can attack and start from there, and then slowly build and work from there. And that's kind of the same, like if you're really overwhelmed with your home and struggling with organization, start small. Take your junk drawer, just start there and get a small win. You want to start with these small wins and slowly build up over time, because you're going to feel yourself more confident as you slowly take this piece and attack it. And so if you're struggling, like with your children and their clothes and getting them to put them away, start small. Say, all right, can you put this shirt away for me? It maybe doesn't need to be in the way that you want it to be. And also incentivize. And that's, I think, in terms of parenting, at least that's worked well for us so far. I don't think there's a one all be all in terms of parenting, but really learning, motivating your children. So I feel like most of the time I'm going by the seat of my pants going, okay, how can I incentivize her and motivate her to do this? What's going to work? And sometimes me saying, okay, can you do this in 5 seconds? How quickly can you do this? Doesn't work. So I'm like, all right, what's next? What else can I do to incent? Okay, do you want to go to the park? Okay, so in order to go to the park, we got to get this put away. So it's these small things that you take one at a time, and you'll eventually start to see the results.
I love it. So what was coming up for me when you were saying this is when we're overwhelmed, we're looking at our house, we're like, oh my gosh, this is disastrous. And maybe we even have a cleaning lady, right? Maybe we have, and then 5 minutes later, it's gross. It's awful. Realizing we consume a lot of crap, right? We consume a lot of shit. I just went and got new towels, and I was like, 1 towel per person that lives in this house. All the other towels are gone. Why do we need 50 towels when there's
because it makes us feel safe. We feel secure, and we have a hard time of letting go, and it's an emotional attachment. And regardless, let's say you've got 50 towels at home, I could guarantee you could pick out those towels and you know exactly from when they were. I remember same thing when I went through my towels, when I got new towels, I'm like, those are the first towels I got in college. Those were the towels that I got when I got married. And you have this emotional attachment tied to things, and it's hard to take those away because they're memories. And you're like, am I throwing away memories? Just because I'm getting rid of my towels that I got when I got married, but they have holes in them. So there's, and it's hard to take away that attachment because we get attached to it.
Or then someone's like, well, keep them for rags.
Yeah.
And then so now they're still in the house, but they're considered rags. And then all of a sudden, like, child, husband, somebody else picks one of the rag towels and uses that. And then it gets blown in the mix. And you're like, what the heck? This is not the system, right?
Yes.
So it does make sense. I completely understand it keeps us safe. It keeps us safe. And when we're letting go, and this is kind of counterintuitive to how we want to feel, though. Like, I get that we want to feel safe, but there's also a fear and a vulnerability of, if I let this go, that I'm going to be empty, or I'm not good enough, or, all of these things, like children. So this will go out around, well, it's towards the end of October. So the holiday season is coming up, and this season always makes me laugh because, I'm a minimalist, but I'm not like hardcore. I'm very conscious of what I purchase. Right. So when I'm purchasing gifts for my children, I try to put thought into what they like, not just, go to Toys R Us and grab a whole bunch of shit. But I notice that as Christmas is getting closer and closer and closer, it's creeping up on me going, you should buy more. You should buy more. You should buy more. And then people buy crap, and you're bringing all this shit into your house. Yeah. And so I get it. People are giving with love and obligation and all of this crap, but we get overwhelmed. We get anxious. And when we're overwhelmed and anxious, how do you think our children feel?
Exactly. Same way. Your vibe and your energy, it plays into your children and the entire household. And if mama's not happy, no one's happy. Right. And it's hard, especially with these holidays coming up. And that's why you just got to take a step back and make a plan. I think that's one of the easiest things to at least help take down the stress and anxiety. I mean, I know every year it comes around, as much as I love to plan and organize, there's still this, like, I don't know if it's a society thing, but there's this pressure of making sure that you have a great Christmas for your children. And we put all this pressure on ourselves, and which gives us, in terms, the anxiety. And it's hard because you want to give your kids the best possible, but then like you said, this consumption thing, you're like, okay, now before I know it, I got more stuff coming in, more in. And then you're overwhelmed and you're like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do with everything? And now the New Year's are coming up, and now I got these New Year's resolutions and goals and things like that I need to do. And it's one thing after another.
Yeah. Back to basics, right? It's like, do the same thing over and over and over again, because I feel like we're constantly in a state of detox.
Totally. Yeah. And it's about managing what's coming in and what you're putting out. And I think the statistic is like 80% of like what we have, we don't use. And it's crazy when you think about it. And I know myself, even when I go through purging, it's hard. It's not easy. And when I get ready to purge something and I find something, I literally have not used in a year. I'm like, oh, but I might use this again. And it's forcing yourself to say, I have not used this thing in a year. What am I going to do with it? But you think consciously, you talk yourself into this, and you're like, well, I think we might need it again, or I might use it again one day. Mm-hmm. And it's even like those travel sizes or the sample sizes that you get. And you're like, these are really good to have. I'm like, I have a whole, I finally got rid of them. I'm like, I have never used all of these sample sizes, but it was very, very hard to get rid of. And that's a big struggle because there's decluttering and there's organization, and they're two totally separate things. And when you declutter, it's really letting go. And then once you let go of all that stuff, it makes it easier to organize what you need to organize, whether it's your closet, your bathroom, things like that.
Yeah. yes, the other day I was looking for something that I knew was in the house.
Mm-hmm.
And this something was an extra something that I purchased for when I need it for that extra time. Right. And so what did I do? I had to go to the fucking store and buy it again. And it would cost me $1. But I'm like, and then when I was at the store, I'm like, I'll just buy a few extra so that I have them for next time. And it's like, no, Heather, buy what you need right now. That's it. Even though, yes, you can afford the additional $2, but to me, it's like, I always talk about energy leaks, and I'm like, this is a huge energy leak. What is draining from your brain because you're buying this extra crap and putting it places and creating the space. I mean, houses are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people want more and more and more and more, and realizing, what you're talking about, the 80%, or, you don't use 80% of your stuff. There was, and I have no idea where this study came from, and I don't even know who to reference, talking about the hot spots in your house of what people actually utilize in their home, which is like kitchen, like that one chair in the living room, and then like their bedroom and the bathroom, but like all of this extra space, it's like they're not utilizing it. But yet we feel like we want more. We feel we need more. We need to consume more. We need to spend more. And then we're coming back to the space of like, now I have all this shit and I'm anxious and I feel overwhelmed and unorganized.
Totally. Yeah. And a lot of it, I think it has to do with society. And I also think now it was social media. It really is putting all this pressure on ourselves and what we need. And, practicing minimalism, it's something you have to work at. That it's not something that really comes easy and natural. It's taking what's in your house and being conscious of what you're bringing in. And it's hard because there are times you go shopping. I'm like, all right, I just got a pair of shoes. Okay. You don't think about it. And you're like, before you know it, you got, okay, another pair of shoes. And they're like, I run out of shoe spots holders in my bin for this. Like now I got to get, you think, okay, well, I just go get another shoe organization bin and I'll have more slots, which really is not the answer to it. Okay. Take out what you're not wearing. What shoes have been sitting there for the last 3 months that you haven't put on? Because chances are there's a pair in there that you haven't worn. It just, they take up space.
Right. Yeah. The shit that takes up space, which causes anxiety. So if we just clear it up and organize it, this can be a game changer for ourselves and our children.
Absolutely. Awesome. Absolutely.
Marie, you have an organizer or a planner.
A planner. Yes. Awesome. I have a planner called the Organized Planner. I designed this a couple years ago when I was actually returning back to work and after having our first child. And I was looking for something that could incorporate my personal life and my work life. And I just couldn't find anything that was working that I liked. I've tried, it feels like a bazillion planners out there, and it just wasn't making me feel organized. And I was having all this anxiety because I couldn't put down what I wanted to do. I'm a big goal planner, and I didn't have enough room for my checklist, and just things weren't feeling organized. So I put this planner together, and really the focus of it is the layout piece of it. So basically what I did was I kind of separated the personal and goal side. I have a goals section that is weekly where you can have your personal, your work goals, and other goals. Like if you have goals for your kids or for whatever reason, household goals, things like that. And then I wanted to be able to organize my checklist a little bit better. So now that I had kids, I also had stuff for them to do, and I still had work stuff to do. And then kind of meal planning. So I'm like looking at my planner, I'm like, okay, what are we going to have for dinner tonight? And I wanted to have everything in one place. And so that's where this planner was created, and it helped take back the overwhelm and anxiety feeling that I had being a working mom and figuring out how to do all of life, sort of say, now that I was a mom. And that's how this was created.
Awesome. Is it a downloadable PDF? Do people opt in, or how does this work?
So it is a physical planner. And the 2018 is almost available. I'm waiting on the final proof on it. The last couple covers haven't come out as sharp as they need it to be. So it should be ready for order here in the middle of November. So you can go to the website and you can just subscribe to get updates and notifications. And they'll be able to let you know when the planner will be available.
Awesome. And if they can, I know you sent the URL, but that is available on your site as well, like organizemarie.com.
Yes.
Awesome. Yay. Yeah. I'm looking at it. It looks really, really cool and awesome. And I'm really excited to see when that comes out.
Thank you.
All right, Marie, where else can everyone find you? Are you on social media anywhere? Anything else you're up to?
Yes. Can find me on Pinterest and Instagram at Organized Marie.
And what are you always sharing?
Oh, I'm sharing a mix. Pinterest is always organizing photos or quotes. I'm a really big quote person. I think quotes are very motivating. And then on Instagram, I'm posting a little bit of mix of organizing pictures of stuff that I use to organize at home, where you can shop some of the products that I use in the pictures that I post. And then incorporating some life pictures of being a mom and stuff like that that's been going on. So
love it.
A little mix of everything.
Yay. And the baby on the way.
And the baby on the way. Yes.
Oh, joys.
I know, lots. I'm going to have to up our organizing ante here soon.
Yes. What is your definition of sustainable motherhood?
Great question. My definition of sustainable motherhood is having peace with yourself, and not beating yourself up so much being a mom and doing the best that you can. When you become a mom, it's just there's no handbook. I mean, you can read all these books about parenting and what you can do. And I think if you put your best foot forward, know that you're going to make mistakes. There's going to be failures, but you keep trying and doing the best that you can. And if you're doing the best that you can, and I think that's what does define sustainable motherhood. If you're doing the best that you can, learning from your failures, it's not going to be perfect. There is no perfect parent. There is no perfect child. And when you put your best foot forward, I think that's when you are, that is sustainable motherhood.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. And giving yourself permission to just be okay with your mistakes.
Yeah. And that's the hardest part. We have mistakes daily. And I think you just got to learn from them. You got to get yourself back up. That's one of the biggest things that happen in life. There's going to be failures. That's the way it is. You just got to learn from it and figure out what you can do better.
For sure. Thank you, Marie.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.